A little bit of mold.
A little bit. I just want to tell you, your office is instead of the home.
Well, I walked over to yours, the doors were open. It was cleaned up, kind of. I mean,
I've been cleaning it up.
I could see, yeah, there was a lot of changes.
We're painting, we're gonna, you know,
How about the tiles? Did they have mold on them? You know, the ceiling tiles?
some of it, in your offices specifically, because I think there's something wrong there, and I said, they have to clean that out, because that's affecting our breathing. I actually want the,
I thought
whatever,
about,
HVAC.
I thought about talking to
Hey,
maintenance.
Gloria.
Lamar, maybe tomorrow, I need to talk to you about the sheriff.
Okay.
Did he tell you that we talked?
Yeah, he did.
All right.
Yeah, I definitely, yeah, I've been talking to them for weeks now, trying to get them to do stuff, and, you know, it's coming. They have now,
Okay, I'd like to call the Personnel Committee meeting. Is there anybody from the public that want to address the committee? Courtesy of the floor. Yeah.
Hello, members of council. I just want to pass this out. I will leave you with extra copies, Aaron.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Barron.
These will preface my comments really quick. This is in relation to the presentation you're about to hear from Scott. Scott, welcome back. When Bolton was last here to discuss with you their report, we talked about how once our 3.5% raise went through, on salary alone, we would be paying 99% of the market. And I want to say that again. When our 3.5% raise went through, we would be paying 99% of the market, which Bolton agreed to at that time. Our raises passed in 2023 for 2024, and we were then higher than the other counties in our peer group, also including some of the other factors within our peer group. One council member mentioned that they did not think we should be compared to fourth-class counties as we are of a higher class. The truth of the matter is, which is a chart I just passed out to you now, is when you look at the population, we have much more in common with fourth-class counties such as Washington, Butler, and Monroe than we do with the larger counties, considering Chester, while a third-class county, could be a second-class county. Berks and Bucks are also much, much larger. So even the smaller fourth-class counties are closer to us for comparison purposes than some of those second-class counties because we are a smaller third-class county. So the chart I passed out shows that, and when Scott was here in November and talked about his report, we do not pay less than other counties. We pay 98.7% of the mean, of the median in our peer group, and 95% of the median among third-class counties, and we are among the smaller third-class counties. So I would say per capita, we're probably the best paying third-class county. It is also important to note that Dauphin, not in the study, though close in population, there are a lot of reasons Dauphin was not in the study group. Dauphin County gave a 2.95% raise this year when we gave 3.5%. And Luzerne, who is close to us, only gave a 2% raise. They did that with no tax increase. Now, if you look at Bucks and Berks, who are much larger counties than us, they gave a 2% raise, Bucks did. Berks gave a 3.5% raise, but Bucks County raised taxes 6.2%. Berks raised taxes 6.2%, Bucks 9%. Lehigh County was, dare I say, the only county in the state to give more than we did at 3.5%. They gave a 4% raise. However, the parking rate for their employees increased, and parking fees went up. Yes, Lehigh County employees, they do not get the benefit of parking in Allentown. They have to pay to park, and it comes out of their salaries. So they have to pay to park when we get to park for free on this campus in Easton. To be clear, these numbers were not new to the county executive or myself as the Director of Fiscal Affairs. We constantly compare our salaries and benefits with other county governments so that we are paying a fair wage that provides a quality of life for our employees at a price tag the residents can afford. The one solution presented here with the shrinking or increasing of the scales has already been done by a previous administration and was not well received by the workforce and is not being considered at this time, as we believe we pay a fair wage to our employees, as well as benefits that are better than what is offered in the private sector, plus a pension, which is rare to find in today's economic climate. The council used its contingency fund to pay for this study that shows what the administration has been telling council since day one. We offer fair wages and contracts to our employees and pay similar to our peers. We are glad this study puts this argument to rest, and we will continue to offer competitive wages and salaries so long as we are the administrators of this county government. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve. All right, anybody else? Seeing none, we'll go to next, which is a presentation, the compensation study.
Hi. So Scott Schreiber with Bolton. Glad to be back again. It's been a couple months. I think it was the holidays. November was the last time I was here. At least the weather's a little bit nicer too. Cold, but a little bit nicer. So I'd like to go through the report. Which button? Just page up and down? Yeah, there we go. So again, it's basically 85% the same report in November. So I'll go a little bit quick through some of the background material. Okay. If you need me to stop and go deeper on something, please just let me know. Little bit review of the background and how we approach a project like this. Our system that we use. Again, it's supposed to illustrate that there are certain segments of a project that we take on, such as this. Looking at the jobs first, looking to market pricing, and then bring it all together to evaluate the pay opportunity. In this case, it's your step structures that we looked at. Again, a little bit of the background of the material we gathered over in the course of the project. Everyone was, I've just got to stop and say, everyone was great to work with. Very, very easy to work with. Lots of back and forth, as you would imagine, on a project like this. And we definitely appreciate how great your administration was to work with. So at the end of the day, we reviewed 253 job descriptions. They were fairly well written, and for our purpose, they did contain sufficient data to allow us to do our work. You'd be surprised in some organizations, job descriptions over time do not reflect accurately, but in this case, they were good, and they allowed us to do our work as far as the job descriptions are concerned. A little brief review of the 4 structures that were part of our study. There was the career exempt structure that had 6 grades, and there's between 9.6 and 20% between each grade. There's 9 steps, right? So you're in a grade and you're paid according to the step in that grade. It's predefined amount of money for each step. There's 4.5% between each step within that structure. Career appointed professional structure has 5 grades, 4.5% between a grade, 9 steps again with about the same percent between a step. Career service has 33 grades with about 4.7 between each grade, again 9 steps. Human services civil service structure has 27 grades with 4.5% between each grade. In this case, there's 13 steps. So 3 of them are kind of similar. The other one has much more grades. One of the things that was interesting to us very early on the project is this next point I'll make is where your current incumbents are relative to these structures. You can see with career exempt, approximately 60% of the incumbents are in the first 3 steps of a 9-step structure. So they're just in the first 3 steps of that structure. Corner Pointed's a little bit better. There's a third of the employees are in a third of the first three steps. Career Services, you can clearly see 63% of all of the employees in that structure are in the first three steps of the structure. And Human Services Civil Service structure, it's a little bit worse than that, where it's 72%. So from our perspective, looking at your structures as they currently are and how they're currently being utilized, the bottom paragraph on this page, 65% of your employees are only in the first three steps. It's a 9-step structure, the one's a 13-step structure, but 2/3 of your employees are only in the first three steps in the structure. That's quite unusual, okay, as far as the array or the distribution of employees within a pay structure, particularly a step structure. That's quite unusual. So I'll come back to that, and as Steve mentioned, we have a recommendation how to try to alleviate some of that. But I believe that's an important finding before we get even into some of the external markets data. Yes, sir.
So meaning that it's compressed within that, the three versus more evenly distributed across all 9?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Correct.
I just
So,
wanna make sure
correct. So in each structure, like the one structure had 9 steps. 2/3 of the employees are in those first 3 steps. Correct. Correct. So the market data, we worked again with administration to define a peer group. It was class 3 and class 4 counties. And you can see who they are here. We took the data, extracted the data from the County Commissioners Association of Pennsylvania, or their salary survey they do. It's an extremely extensive, very robust survey as far as the amount of information is concerned. The 17 counties we selected to be our peer group had over 6,000 data on over 6,000 individuals. So again, that's a very sufficient or very large peer group, if you would, as far as our comparing your pay to the peer groups within the other 17 counties. We had to update the data to a point in time. The point in time was July 1st of 2023. I'm going to show you 3 statistics. The 25th percentile, that's also known as the first quartile. And when you array data from top to bottom, it's that point that 25% is less than that number and 75% is more than that number. The converse of that is the 75P, or 75th percentile, where it's above the 75% of the population or the data points, and you're in the top quartile, basically. And the number right in the middle is the median, which technically is different than the mean. The mean is an average. The median is that number, which is right in the middle. And so we're going to compare you to utilizing those 3 data statistics. And you can see overall, Northampton is 95.2% of the 50th percentile of the peer group. So when I take an average of all your pay, I compare it to the actual pay of the peer group, not their structures, not their ranges, but actual pay to actual pay, Northampton is 95.2% of that peer group that were created, okay? That's very competitive positioning. I broke it out now to the 4 structures that came under our study, and you can see there is a little variations as far as the various structures are concerned. But again, still all of them are competitive relative to their peer group, page 9. Overall, again, it's 95.2. We then further broke that out by each structure, by each grade within each structure. Again, looking at how we pay people within Northampton compared to how those other 17 counties pay their same roles. And you can see, again, there's a little variation within a grade, within a structure, but for the most part, it's pretty consistent within plus or minus 10%. There's a couple off here. The very first one are your court officers. So they are low relative to the market. But rather than that, they're pretty consistent as far as each grade relative to the external market. And the last one is the HS structure. Again, a little variations, but fairly consistent. So we then looked at how your current structure compares to the external market. When we do that is we want to know, because the structures are the means by which we award pay within an organization, we want to see how those structures compare externally to how the other counties are paying their people. In a step structure like we have here, there's typically is a definition that we want this step, this particular step, to compare externally, okay? We didn't have that definition on your structures. It may have been lost over time. And so what we did was we just simply took the middle step in each structure, and we wanted to see how the middle step compared to the external market. As you can see, it's dead on. Your middle step of your structures are dead on the 50th percentile, okay? The problem we got is, I'll reflect back to that point I made earlier, 2/3 of the employees are below that middle step, right? They're in those first 3 steps. So 2/3 of your employees are not even at the middle step, even though the middle step does compare favorably to the external market. Okay, that's an important point to make. With me, God? Okay? So when I was here last, the council, the committee asked me to break out the Class 3 counties and compare Northampton simply to the Class 3 counties. And this is just a brief illustration, the easiest way to show how the Class 3 counties compare relative to the peer group. They pay about 3.6% higher. So when you take the average of the Class 3 counties, and you take that relative to the average of the 17 counties that we created a peer group, it's a 3.6% difference. Okay, you specifically asked me to bring that information back to you. So it's not like it's 20% difference, it's 3.6. It's a difference, but not a huge difference, okay? We then looked at benefits, and this would be new from last time I was here, these next couple pages. Working with administration, we identified these specific 6 counties to try to get benefit information and compare Northampton to these 6 counties. And I got to tell you, it was like pulling teeth trying to get information out of these 6 counties. For some reason, they just did not want to cooperate, which is extremely unusual for us. We actually had to do multiple open records requests, and even then we didn't get everything we asked for. We had to do, we had to call, we had to do internet investigations, try to get information off their websites. But we finally got enough to have this analysis, but it was like very extremely difficult for some reason. So I'm going to do it by kind of benefits, so medical benefits relative to the 6 other counties. You can see that typically everyone offers 2 plan options, as you do here. You can see the PPO, for example, what the monthly employee cost is for a PPO, for employee only, employee plus 1, and family, relative to yours, which is 8% of pay. Now, it's competitive until you get to that point in my pay that 5% or 4% is more than what everybody else is as far as an exact amount, a monthly contribution. Let me do that again. Until a point in time, in this case, I believe it's 43,000. Northampton PPO 2,000 HSA at 2% of pay. Until I make $43,000, my employee cost is better than the average. Once I'm over $43,000 in pay, because it's a percent of pay, it's not as competitive. Okay? Generally speaking, though, the benefits are competitive. Okay? So that's healthcare. Continuing healthcare, again on page 17, you can see what annual deductibles look like, out-of-pay maximums look like, coinsurance, co-pays when you do the physician visits, specialist visits. Again, generally speaking, Northampton is very competitive as far as the benefits are concerned. It's just a coincidence in the pharmacy benefit, your generic non-preferred copays are great, wherever that came from. But generally speaking, the healthcare and pharmacy and benefits are competitive to those other 6 counties. Dental benefits are, again, competitive to the other 6 counties. No unusual findings there. Vision benefits, again, competitive. Welfare benefits, this is interesting. Here, this in combination with the next slide, which is your PTO, paid time off analysis. But this is short-term disability, STD, long-term disability, LTD, life insurance, and accidental death and dismemberment. That's what they stand for. And the findings here are that the maximum benefit amounts for short-term disability is half of what the peer group is. You can see the peer group is $2,000 per week, and the maximum benefit here is $1,000 per week. That's not quite competitive. The other thing I'll point out is the life insurance amounts. The maximum here is $20,000 that the county pays. And again, that's not competitive. That's about half what we found as far as the peer groups are concerned. So those 2 benefits, as far as the maximum for the short-term disability, weekly maximum, and the life insurance that the county pays, those are not quite as competitive as the other benefits are. And in combination with that is the paid time off. This is for sick pay, holidays, personal days. And the accrual rate, how much I earn in a given month, in a given year, is competitive with the other counties. What's very generous here is that there is no maximum carryover. Here at Northampton, they're allowed to continue to carry over, and there's no maximum limit as to the number of days that can be continuously carried over for year to year to year to year. And you can see the study we found that the maximum carryover in the peer counties was 85 days. Here, in the paragraph on the bottom of the slide, in my observation, there are 108 individuals who currently have more than 85 days cumulative. And there's actually 67 individuals who are over 125 days. And so from a competitive position for long service employees, because that's how you accumulate that many days, it's a very rich benefit, if you would, as far as the maximum carryover. The accrual rates are right where they need to be, competitive with everybody else. It's awarding long service employees. Again, that's the way you get that kind of accrual is you're here and you continuously build it up, build up your bank. But that, again, that is very rich relative to the market. Okay, any questions for me on the benefits? Yes, sir.
I assume, I didn't see it in it, so this is comparing to other counties where we're offering. Nowhere in here are you talking about the cost of offering.
Correct.
Right? So that is not part of what you are engaged to look at. So we don't know if it's cost Northampton County $1 per employee, the peer group may be $1.25, it could be 95 cents, something. You did not undertake that.
Correct. With me, we refer to this as a prevalence of practice analysis.
Thank you. Yep.
Very good. Any questions? All right. Let's see, recommendations. Recommendations that we had developed right after the first of the year. Relative to where you are competitively positioned at 100.9% of the peer group and 97.3% of the class 3 peers, we believe that the structures are competitive positioned for 2023. But we're now into 2024, so we need to say, how much do we have to take those 2023 structures and continue to make them competitive in 2024? And the answer to that is based upon some projections from a very large organization, World at Work, is a trade association, but they gather data annually from thousands of employers across the country. And you can see here the top one is all US, and the one below that is state of Pennsylvania. And in 2023, the structure adjustments, how much organizations adjusted their pay structures in order to stay competitive, was 3.3%. More importantly, they are projecting that in 2024, that number is 2.9%, because the world's moving, right? This was a snapshot in time. We gathered our data and we're comparing our analysis of a snapshot in time. I'll remind you, it was July of 2023. And so if we want to stay competitive in 2024, we have to age everything. We have to move everything forward. And so in order to do that, our recommendations are to move the structures forward by 2.5%, or 5.2% if you want to be competitive to just a class 3. You can see the numbers at an approximate $30 million payroll, annualized payroll. At 2.5% would add $750,000 annualized. The 5.2 would be about double that. Continuing the recommendations, again, one of that earlier finding I mentioned, that 2/3 of your employees are in the first 3 steps. The next couple recommendations are trying to help move that or correct that issue, in that you need to fund, in our recommendation, a step increase, okay? And that would allow the employees to move more into their structure. So historically, you would have adjusted the structures, right? 2%, 2.5%, and that's what you funded for a given year. And the employees did receive that increase in that given year, but then they could not, the organization, county, could not fund a step increase in addition to that. So that's what's happened over time. And so it's our belief that the design of the structures, and this is what Steve referred to earlier, we believe that it's a fundamental flaw in the design of your structures, that it's 4.5% between steps. And what that means is, in order to allow an employee to take another step, the budget has to be 4.5%. And that's difficult in this day and age, every year, to fund 4.5% each and every year as far as a step increase is concerned. And that's a little bit unusual, from my opinion and experience, to have that big a gap between one step and another, because it is a lot, it is a big jump. So our recommendation is to make less percent between each step to help each year the county fund a step increase, so we can move those 2/3 of the employees out of the first 3 grades and get them up into the step structure, get them up in grades 5, 6, 7 over time, okay? And there's a real easy way to do this, given the design of your structure, is basically cut the steps in half. And so you're basically going from a 9-step structure to a 17-step structure. And that allows the county then to award a 2.25% step increase in a given year, as opposed to a 4.5. And so that's our recommendations to try to help alleviate some of that compression down at the bottom. That compression is very difficult as far as recruiting, as far as keeping pace with the market, as far as trying to identify longer-term service employees and allow them to progress up in the structure. Again, from our recommendation, the design of the structures, your current structures, do not permit the county to do that over time. And that's why this is how we built this recommendation. One more page, a couple things. Again, given our recommendations as far as the design of the structure is concerned, more steps, 2.25% between a step, it would be our recommendation the county try to fund a step annually, each and every year, okay? And again, the reason we want to do that is we want to alleviate that compression at the bottom of the structure. Our other recommendation is we need a policy, a market strategy. Do we want to compare just against class 3? It's again, against a peer group that we developed. What step within the structure do we want to track relative to that 50th percentile. Your step 5 currently, which would be step 9 in our proposed structures, identify the step you want to compare to the external marketplace, identify what that marketplace is, so we can be consistently measuring that over time, okay? 5 years from now, I may not be here. I'm hopefully on a beach somewhere relaxing, this time of year particularly. So at that point in time, you can give that to the consultant and say, look, go measure these peer group, show us where our step 5 is relative to the 50th percentile of that peer group. And that's an exact measurement at that point in time. So it's a brief presentation, quick presentation. Questions, please.
Good. Thank you, Mr. Giovanni. In terms of the step structures itself, if we can go back to career service really quick, did the administration ask you to include the career service 2024 3.5% raise within your calculation?
No, this was before any of those 3.5%.
You did not include that?
No, I did
at
not.
all? Okay.
No, I did not.
Did anyone, following up, did anyone from the county council or any member of the county staff ask you not to include them?
No.
Okay.
It was just timing. It was
Okay.
just- my analysis was done before that was approved.
Okay.
was just
Okay,
timing.
and a couple other questions here. So, Mr. Barron, is he correct when he says that we'd be nearly 100% of the cohort salaries if we did actually include that 3.5%?
Yes.
Okay.
For the peer group that's comprised of both Class 3 and Class 4.
Okay. And is Mr. Barron correct that with that 3.5% raise, we'd be within 0.1% of all third-class counties?
I don't believe, I'm sorry, I don't believe it was an exact amount.
Okay. I could be mistaken about that.
Right. You're close. Here, let me do this. I think if I can reflect just quickly here. Okay, look at this exhibit, okay? So you add you're 95.2% pay to pay of the peer group. You add 3.5% to that, you're at 99%. But you add 3.5 to the 91.6, and you're at 95. Okay, which is still competitive.
Right,
And
right.
5% is very, because it's a moving target, right?
Just want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yes, sir.
As one of the new members
So
here.
at 3.5%, you would be almost exactly at the 50th percentile of the peer group I comprised of both Class 3 and Class 4 counties,
Gotcha.
okay?
All right, thank you very much.
Oh, of course.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So the other third-class counties, except maybe Erie, are bigger than we are. If we back Raysdale out of the budget, we have the smallest or one of the smallest workforces and budgets with respect to third-class counties, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And isn't it true Lehigh County has the higher population than we do?
I believe so, yes.
And their budget's higher?
I do not, I'm sorry, I don't know that off the top of my head, what Lehigh County budget is.
So many of these other counties in recent times have raised property taxes. I mean, you just went over Bucks and Berks. If we had to raise taxes to implement your plan, would that be your recommendation?
I am a compensation consultant. I'm here to show you how you compare to the external market. That's my job.
Well, I did hear that we are competitive in many, many areas, and that was really good for me to hear.
Correct. You are.
Any other, good, Joe.
In your analysis that you did, and thank you for the work, were there any conversation with the peers or the specific counties relative to, so we have a competitive, I'm not necessarily recruiting against Luzerne, I'm not recruiting against Erie, their ability to actually retain and recruit in their local markets? I think that, because that's really what this is about, how do we retain employees and then recruit and fill open positions relative. Unfortunately, it's not really, maybe in Lehigh County, we'd be recruiting against some of those employees, but we're really competing against more of a private market. sector. Any consideration of, in conversation with our peer groups at least, relative to their ability to retain and recruit?
No, we did not.
No.
It was strictly a compensation analysis.
I didn't think so, but I wanted to
Sure,
ask the question. Thank
sure.
you.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. very
Okay, my
much.
pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is to review the executive's appointments, reappointments.
Let me-
Thank you. For Children and Youth Advisory Board, Family Advisory Board, Industrial Development, Jail Advisory Board, Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Advisory Board. Okay, for the Children, Youth, and Family Advisory Board, the reappointment of Cheryl Fritz, 4012 Maria Lane, Bethlehem, PA, 18017. And her term will begin on March 22nd, 2024, to end on March 22nd, 2026. Any questions or? Can we move that forward? Jeff, we move it forward?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Okay, next would be Children, Youth, Family Advisory Board. Reappointment of David G. Goss, 208 East First Street, Wind Gap, PA, 091. Goss will begin March 22nd, 2024, and end March 22nd, 2026. Any questions or? Move forward?
Move
Thank-
forward.
Thank you. Okay, recommendation for Industrial Development Authority. Marilyn A. Lieberman, 1587 Penardo Road, Penardo, PA, 18072. Her term, 5-year term would be March 22nd, 2024, and end March 17, 2029. Any questions or? Okay, move forward. Jail Advisory Board, Casey W. Campbell, 4505 Henry Street, Easton, PA, 18045. 2-year term, starting on March 22, 2024, and end December 31st, 2026. Any questions or?
Is this to fill a vacancy? Because it's not a full 2 years.
I think it's just a regular appointment. That would be a Jail Advisory Board for Casey Campbell.
Yeah, I believe it's,
To fill vacancy or?
yes,
Fill vacancy?
correct.
Okay,
There is a vacancy.
okay, thank you, All right, move forward. Okay, a recommendation for appointment for Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Advisory Board. Melanie Christopher, 28 Northview Avenue, Easton, PA, 18045. Consideration for a 2-year term, March 22nd, 2024, and end of March 19, 2026. Any opposed or questions about that person?
Move
Move
forward.
forward. Okay. Another one for Parks, Reservation, Recreation, Open Space Advisory Board. This would be Christopher Topping, 927 Center Street, first floor, Bethlehem, PA, 18018. His term would be for a 2-year term, March 22nd, 2024, to end March 19, 2026. Any question?
Move forward.
Okay. No, Park Reservation Open Space Advisory Board, another reappointment for Stephanie Green, 1512 Weaversville Road, Northampton, PA, 18067, the zip. And it's a 2-year term for March 22nd, 2024 to end March 19, 2026. Any problems with that one, or?
Good, move forward.
Okay. And that will be all the reappointments for the executive.
Really quick, Mr. Giovanni, do
Yes,
you
go
mind if I ask Ms. Melanie Christopher with regard to Parks, Recreation, and Open Space Advisory Board? Was she, this is a new appointment? Yes. I think that's fantastic. If my memory serves me correct, she was one of the over 20 applicants for the open seat that we had here on council, correct?
Yes,
She's wanting to serve her community in this capacity.
yes.
After going through that rigorous process that we all went through and wanting to serve her Northampton County community.
You did not scare her off.
Okay, I'm glad I didn't.
Very well.
I just think it's fantastic and wanted to note it, that somebody who really wanted to serve their Northampton County government just taken the reins and decided that they wanted to do it here in this capacity. I think it's fantastic.
Okay. Next on the agenda is to review county executive's appointment for Director of Administration, Nicole Peteriak. Hope I didn't. Peterzak, I'm sorry. We have the resolution in front of us. Any comments, questions to Nicole? Anything? Move forward.
Move forward, please.
Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is the view of personal requests from the district attorney. Mr. Barata is here.
Good evening. Originally, I had presented 3 resolutions. The one resolution for the mid-tier, which is the Group 4, Step 3C salary of $89,000 is being withdrawn. I had a candidate. She may come back, but for right now, she's decided not to move on to the DA's office, so I have only 2. The first one would be the starting salary on Group 3, 2B of $70,888. That's a young lady who has about 6 years as an attorney, will be just one step above the entry level for an assistant district attorney at $67,000. So that's recognizes her experience. The other salary is a Group 4 7G, which is $106,000. That person is Joseph Stauffer. He came over from James Martin's administration in Lehigh County. He is the head of our drug task force. He brings an awful lot of experience, and he's been with us now for 3 weeks. We brought him in at the lowest step right now until I can get this approved, and he's going to be a fantastic addition to our staff. So you do know, when I came into this position, the DA had 32 full-time positions between the detectives and the attorneys, 32. I anticipate by the end of the year, my staff will be fully staffed at about 26 or 27. Right now, we have 14 DAs. We need to hire some more. We're recruiting right now with the law school. Graduation's coming up, and we're beginning the interview, and hopefully we'll be getting some young DAs. I expect that we're probably going to hire another 5 to 6, possibly at most, but we will have a total staff smaller than the last administration. So right now, we will have, with this new hire coming, she'll be starting April 15th. I'll have 14 on my staff as lawyers. And I will have 7 as detectives on my staff. So.
And that should give you your full complement before the.
Not a full complement, but we're doing our work. We're doing very well right now. We could use some young blood, and we will need some more bodies, but everyone's pitching in and working hard, and we're doing well. I don't have any doubt that we'll be able to we're going to come in way under this year's budget, and next year's budget will be comparatively the same. I'm going to make sure that's going to happen. So I don't think you need to be worried about what we're doing so far.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Roth. Any
Any-
questions for the district attorney? Okey-doke.
Well, thank you for your consideration.
We're moving forward, moving tomorrow night. And I believe that's all on the agenda, so I'll make a motion for adjournment.
Second.
All right.
Did somebody just say something on the phone?
Yeah, it was Lori. She said,
I've been here.
no, she texted me, she was listening, so she said, so move, I think. All right, very good. John, you're up. No, I'm not, he's gonna call in, I guess, from what I understand.
Then we'll go ahead and call to order the Finance Committee. So with courtesy of the floor. Not seeing any, then we'll move on to review of the Controller's report. Controller Zirinsky is here.
Sure am. Thank you so much. I did submit a report to all of you summarizing the reports. Basically, I'm going to go over that today. Our first report is the Controller's annual report. Some of this was written previously, but I did finish it and complete it. You'll notice on page 2 that this is an outline of our new staff. Somewhat. This is the staff that was the remnant, and you'll notice in several of the reports that there are some names indicated in this annual report that are no longer present in the office staff at the end of 2023. That would be obviously Anthony Sabino. Again, what a great asset he was to the county, and we're very grateful for everything that he left us in terms of his knowledge and procedures and things like that. Paul Albert was a lead auditor. Kathleen Nesfetter was a lead auditor, and Gurpreet Kaur was a lead auditor who also was a CPA. So you'll notice that Stacy Duke was the only lead auditor. I want to let everybody know that she was the only person that applied for the senior lead auditor position, and we hired her. So, you know, lots of congratulations to Stacy Duke. That left, those 4 individuals who left in 2023 did leave a gap. There were vacancies in our office that were filled, and actually we hired 1 new auditor. Her name is Florina Tang. She came from assessments, and we're very happy. She's in her 3rd day. She's already starting on audits. And I just wanted to report that Mark Arendt has already started on audits, and we are on schedule with our year-end work that we've been doing. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands that we filled a vacancy and that we did not just hire more people. We had vacancies. Yeah. So here we go. So our annual report for our Northampton County Controller's Office indicates a positive outcome. You'll see that on page 10. From the recent quality control review conducted by the Association of Local Government Auditors. The review, which covered reports issued from January 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2021, aimed to assess the effectiveness of the office's internal quality control system and its adherence to auditing standards mandated by government auditing standards. The review team issued a favorable report dated August 18th, 2022, affirming the office's compliance with established policies, procedures, and auditing standards. The next review is scheduled for 2025. Now, we have several reports that have already been presented in the course of 2023, so I'll just go over them. We have a summary of reports issued for performance audits for procurement. The fuel card program issued January 9th, 2023. It was completed by Paul Albert. The district attorney controlled substance forfeiture audit issued September 27th, 2023, was completed by Gurpreet Kaur. Corrections, commissary and inmate telephone, issued October 13th, 2023, was completed by Paul Albert. Corrections, community corrections, issued October 24th, 2023, was completed by Amna Essen, who is still with us, by the way. Adult probation, offender supervision fee was issued December 4th, 2023, completed by Kathleen Nessfeder and Anthony Sabino. Human resources, medical claims and eligibility was issued December 21st, 2023, and that was completed by Stacy Duke. Our financial audits included the administration conservation districts, which I presented last time. It was issued on November 9th, 2023, and was completed by Gurpreet Kaur. The court administration magisterial district courts issued 2023, completed by Stacy Duke and Altanai Kanatbetov, were Capobianco, Tashner, Engelson, Yetter, Schlegel, Weber. And I will be presenting some magisterial district courts today as well. We also had agreed upon procedures, procurement, the procurement card program. That was issued January 17th, 2023, and completed by Kathleen Nessfeder. The Internal Controls Division of Juvenile Probation, issued December 5th, 2023, was completed by Gada Gurges, who is still with us. The Internal Controls Cash, Drug and Alcohol Division, issued December 5th, 2023, was completed by Gada Gurges as well. Community Economic Development, Hotel Room Rental Tax. We had reports issued for the years end December 31st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022 with Hotel Bethlehem, Best Western, Hampton Inn and Suites, Lafayette Inn, Holiday Inn Express, Hampton Inn Express, or Hampton Inn, East Inn, Extended Stay American, Hyatt Place, Tuscarora Inn, Townley Hall, and we have various non-site visits as well. The Nazareth Motel, the Classic Victorian Bed and Breakfast, the Barnhouse Village, the Filbert Bed and Breakfast, and Camp Charles Campground. So in case you wanted to visit any of those places, apparently they are up to snuff, right? In 2023, the Controller's Office was actively involved in providing non-audited services to county employees and departments. These services included assisting Mayor Duzel with the 2022 year-end financial audit and the 2022 single audit with completion dates in May and June 2023, respectively. We are currently engaged in the year-end audit, and Mayor Duzel is scheduled to have a call with us next week. We're going to update them, and then within the coming weeks, we'll have the information that's requested. Every year, we give them 1,500 hours of pretty much background information that we acquire and assemble for them so that they can do the audit. So that's an exchange for kind of like a discount on the audit services that they provide. So it's a trade-off. So additionally, the previous audit manager, Tony Sabino, served as an officer in the local chapter of the Institute of Internal Auditors, demonstrating the office's commitment to professional development, engagement within the auditing community. The office also maintained compliance with the county records manual issued by the Pennsylvania Historical and Museum Commission by disposing of office files appropriately. Furthermore, efforts were made to enhance transparency and accessibility by updating the Controller's Office website with audit reports and relevant information by digitizing audit reports and work papers for fire retention. Looking forward, the Controller's Office has several audits and agreed upon procedure engagements in progress as of December 31st, 2023, with projected completion dates in 2024. These assignments cover various areas such as cash collections, procurement card procedures, hotel tax assessments, among others. And you can see those on pages 22 and 23. So throughout 2023, the Controller's Office remained dedicated to continuous improvement. This included investing 338 hours in continuing professional education to stay abreast of evolving standards and certifications. We are currently looking for continuing professional education courses for all of us to take, and I've reached out for those, and we'll be scheduling them soon. The office utilized online resources for research and benchmarking purposes, leveraging best practices from other audit departments. The implementation of audit command language, ACL data analysis tools facilitated the identification of irregularities in large data sets, contributing to improved audit outcomes. Additionally, the office updated its policies and procedures manual and various report templates to align with government auditing standards. Apparently, there is a new auditing standard, and we will be receiving more information. We will be updating our policy and procedures manual accordingly, and especially because now we have a different organization with a senior lead auditor and deputy controller. So we will be doing this again. Techniques for virtual auditing and training were refined to accommodate the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, emphasizing efficiency and cost effectiveness without compromising audit quality. These efforts underscore the Controller's Office commitment to excellence and innovation in the audit process. Are there any questions? Okay, moving on to hotel room rental tax. We have several. We're going to start with the Hampton Inn Easton and the agreed-upon procedures. The independent internal auditor's report on applying agreed-upon procedures aimed to evaluate hotel room rental tax remittance from license number 121, Hampton Inn Easton, for the period January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. The procedures involved inspecting tax remittance, interviewing hotel management, inspecting financial reports, investigating exemptions, and calculating additional tax owed. The findings indicated that the operator generally used the correct remittance forms and submitted them accurately and timely. However, there were issues with underreported taxable revenue due to missing fees, inaccurate exemptions, and noncompliance with tax refund regulations for permanent residents. As a result, license 121 Hampton Inn Easton was found to owe Northampton County $2,132.46 in hotel room taxes. The report underscored the importance of accurate reporting, compliance with tax regulations, and adherence to refund policies to avoid discrepancies in future tax remittances. The next one is Hotel Inn Express Easton. The independent internal auditor's report focused on license number 119, Holiday Inn Express, for the period January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. The audit procedures included inspecting tax remittances and reviewing hotel management, verifying financial reports, investigating exemptions, and calculating additional tax owed. The findings indicated that while most procedures were in compliance, there were instances of late payment penalties and discrepancies in exemption qualifications. Specifically, the operator timely submitted most remittance reports, but incurred a late payment penalty for January 2022. The report also noted issues with certain exemptions and determined the license number 119 Holiday Inn Express Easton owes Northampton County $104.45 in hotel room taxes. The report emphasizes again the importance of accurate and timely remittance to avoid penalties and to ensure compliance with tax regulations. The next is the Hyatt Place in Bethlehem, from license 140 Hyatt Place Bethlehem for the period January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. The procedures again included tax remittance, interviewing hotel management, inspecting financial reports, investigating exemptions, and calculating additional tax owed. The findings revealed that while the operator generally submitted timely remittance reports and used the correct forms, there were lapses in detailed exemption documentation and underreported taxable revenue due to missing fees. As a result, license 140 Hyatt Place Bethlehem was found to owe Northampton County $2,245 in hotel room taxes. The report again emphasized the need for improved compliance measures, accurate reporting, and adherence to tax regulations to avoid such discrepancies in the future. Next is the Lafayette Inn, license number 106, reporting for the period January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. Again, the audit procedures are the same. You can see the glazed over look, so I'll move on. Findings revealed challenges due to a change in ownership mid-year, resulting in incomplete financial records. For the first part of 2021, the audit also noted issues with late remittances, inaccurate tax calculations in some months, insufficient accounting systems affecting tax accuracy, and discrepancies in exemptions leading to underpayments. Ultimately, the report concluded that license number 106, the Lafayette Inn, owes Northampton County $2,790.82. This again highlights the importance of the accurate financial records and tax compliance. Finally, we have Townley House. Number 164, reporting for the period January 1st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. The audit procedures again included the same thing as before. Findings revealed that the operator submitted quarterly remittance reports in 2021 instead of monthly, which incurred late penalties. In 2022, monthly reports were submitted timely, but also incurred late penalties. The operator correctly calculated the tax amount, but neglected to complete certain sections on the remittance forms. The audit also found discrepancies in taxable revenue compared to financial documents and noted that certain fees were not included in taxable revenue. So despite claiming no exemptions, the audit determined that license 164, Townley House, owes Northampton County $349.32. The report concludes with a statement on the auditor's adherence to government auditing standards and the limitations of the agreed-upon procedures engagement. Moving on to the magisterial district judge audits. I'm going to go over the procedures first because they're the same for everything, for each of them. We conducted our audits in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America. Our responsibilities are further described in the auditor's responsibilities for the audit of the financial statements section of our report. We're required to be independent of the magisterial district courts and to meet our other ethical responsibilities in accordance with the relevant ethical requirements relating to our audit. We believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for our opinion. Our responsibility is to express an opinion on these financial statements based on our audit. We conducted our audit in accordance with auditing standards generally accepted in the United States of America and the standards applicable to the financial audits contained in government auditing standards issued by the Comptroller General of the United States. Those standards require that we plan and perform the audit to obtain reasonable assurance about whether the financial statements are free of material misstatements. An audit involves performing procedures to obtain audit evidence about the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements. The procedures selected depend on the auditor's judgment, including the assessments of the risks of material misstatement of the financial statements and whether due to fraud or error. In making these risk assessments, the auditor considers internal control relevant to the entity's preparation and fair presentation of the financial statements in order to design audit procedures that are appropriate in the circumstances, but not for the purpose of expressing an opinion on the effectiveness of the entity's internal control. Accordingly, we express no such opinion. An audit also includes evaluating the appropriateness of accounting policies used and the reasonableness of significant accounting estimates made by the management, as well as evaluating the overall presentation of the financial statements. The first magisterial district judge financial audit findings were for Judge Nicholas E. Engelson, Esquire. The opinion states, we have audited the accompanying statement of changes in assets and liabilities, cash basis of Magisterial District Court 032-11 of the County of Northampton, Pennsylvania, and as of the years ending December 31st, 2020 and December 31st, 2021, the related notes to the financial statements. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects. And we believe that the audit evidence we have obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide the basis for our opinion. This audit was issued September 6th, 2023, and completed by Altanai Kenneth Beckoff. The next is Judge Richard Yetter III, Esquire. This independent report pertains to the statement of changes in assets and liabilities, cash basis for the magisterial court, 3-2-12 of Northampton County for the years ending December 31st, 2020 and December 31st, 2021. In our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects in accordance with the cash basis of accounting. This report underscores the auditor's professional approach, adherence to auditing standards, and the comprehensive nature of the audit process in evaluating the financial statements and the internal controls of the Magisterial District Court. It was issued on August 2nd, 2023, and it was completed by Stacy Duke. The next is Judge Robert C. Weber. Again, this was for year end, December 31st, 2021, and December 31st, 2022, for Court 3-2-05. The auditors believe that the audit evidence obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for the audit opinion, which was favorable. This report was issued on November 17th, 2023, and completed by Stacy Duke. The next was Judge Vivian I. Zumas, Esquire. Again, this was for Magisterial District Court 03-104 of County of Northampton, Pennsylvania, for the years ending December 31st, 2021, and December 31st, 2022. The auditors believe that the audit evidence obtained is sufficient and appropriate to provide a basis for the audit opinion. This report was issued November 15th, 2023, and it was completed by Altanai Kanat-Bekoff. Finally, we have Judge Jordan A. Nisley. Magisterial Court 03-2-10 of Northampton County, representing years end December 31st, 2021 to December 31st, 2022. It was a fair representation of financial statements. The audit confirms the financial statements of the MDC for the specific years present fairly and in all material respects. Statement of changes in assets and liabilities, cash basis, according to the cash basis of accounting. The auditor's opinion states that the financial statements present fairly. And overall, the report confirms the adequacy of audit procedures, adherence to auditing standards, and the compliance with relevant financial reporting requirements for the magisterial district courts. This report was issued November 29th and completed by Altanai Kanat-Bekoff. And that is all we have. Obviously, some of it seems kind of repetitive, but many of the procedures are done the same way for each of the reports, but it's necessary that we do them in a consistent manner to make sure that there is compliance to all of the generally accepted standards. Thank you so much.
Last on the agenda is the review of the Administrative Code, Article 13, Contract Amendment for Flyway Excavating. According to the resolution, Council approved this work last March 23, and the additional monies is for excavating rock, additional rock under the wall. Is this the steps? Just refresh the background on it.
Sure. So this project is over at Archibald Johnston Conservation Area. When the contract was awarded, or since the contract was awarded last year, there's been significant erosion of the stream banks along the Monocacy Creek. It's kind of beginning to threaten the existing trail adjacent to the stream bank. So what this amendment does, it would add additional work to the original contract for Flyway Excavating to install this additional rock protection to stop the stream bank erosion from happening.
Any questions from council on the project? Okay.
Thank you.
That's all we have. Anything from council before we adjourn? Okay. Thank you, everyone. We're adjourned.
Thank you. Steve.
I put it like right up to the meeting.
Steve.
What's up? They just